Welcome back to Made for More. I am your host, Holly J. Moore. On Made for More, we like to talk about things that will help you go from surviving on autopilot in your life to absolutely thriving, living your best life. Speaking of thriving, I am here today with my producer, Aaron Bender, who is always thriving and at the top of his game.
Thrive and alive. That's what
right.
we call today. I don't even know what day it is, what time. Where am I?
It doesn't matter.
Topic today, manifesting.
Yes.
I don't know that I heard it used in the way it's used today up until like maybe 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Same.
But our guest is like, oh no, I've been doing it all my life, honey. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
don't get it.
Well, so this is so interesting because, you know, in preparing for these episodes, I kind of, if they have content on social media or something like that, I'll go and I'll look at their content so that I can kind of make my outline, make my bullet points of what I want to ask them about. And one of the really interesting things I saw was how this particular guest, her dad gave her a book when she was like in elementary school about, I think she said it was about the law of attraction or, you know, manifesting or like this mindset stuff. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, when I was that age, I was like worried about which boy I liked that week. And here she is over like practicing the law of attraction. Pretty impressive. I am joined today by a very unique financial planner. You guys heard us talk to Craig a little while ago. Craig, shout out to you. We're still talking about you. Craig was also a financial planner, but today we're going to get such a unique perspective. We're going to talk about money mindset and, you know, thinking about abundance and all these really cool things. So I am joined today by Gaea Verneris. Gaea, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hi, Holly. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm so excited to see you again, too, after all these years.
Yes, it has been a very long time. We grew up in the same small town, went to the same small schools. And Gaea, what's really funny is, you know, as I was preparing for this episode, kind of my custom and practice is to look at the guest's content on social media or whatever. And I came across something that talked about how your dad, who I remember, shout out to your dad, how he had given you this book on, I think it was like either manifestation or law of attraction when you were like a small child. And you you have the book with you. Perfect. Yes. So how old were you when he gave you that book?
Well, let's see. I think I was probably 9 or 10. I don't know if you remember, but my mom moved away when I was young. And that was hard. Your mom moved, right? Yes. And we're still close. Love my mom. But she did. She moved away to help her family, and I stayed with Dad, and my dad was really big into law of attraction and Abraham, and he was always meditating, and he taught us and me very young. And this book is Sarah the Foreverness. I brought it because I knew you might ask about it, and I'm gonna start reading it to Basil, my daughter.
Yes.
And it changed my life, like just
Excellent.
the perspective of like why Mom left and how I can like learn to take things that are challenging and turn them around with my thoughts and my mindset and things like that, and the vibrations that we put out to the universe. So.
Well, something that I was talking to my producer about earlier, and I talked a little bit about it when we did the first segment of the show, is like, you know, back then, I mean, I was like not thinking about the law of attraction. I was like chasing boys, you know, playing soccer. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, here Gaea was like practicing the law of attraction. Like I'm so behind. Like, and actually it really did make me think, gosh, like I talk to my kids about it a little bit too, but like, maybe I'll get a copy of that book and give it to them too, because I love that. And like thinking back how like that was your reality at the time compared to my reality is like, I'm so impressed by that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just so grateful for Dad, right? Like that's how he taught us. That's how we were raised. And that's what I try to teach Basil too. It's like, she sees me meditate every morning and she now wants to meditate. And so we've been taking her to TM training and like, just things like that, little sprinkles in that you can teach to kids. Just so grateful I had that as a background, and my sister and my siblings too, right? So, yes, I never too late though, Holly.
Yes, it's true. Never too late. Yes. So, okay. So actually, you haven't even really told us what you do yet. So tell us exactly what it is that you do professionally.
Yeah. So I am a financial advisor and planner professionally. And I didn't start there. I went to school for video production. And for 10 years, I shot video footage on cruise ships. I started and managed the video department for Princess. And for 6 years, yeah. For 6 years, I lived on the ships and traveled the world and went to 40 countries. Not all on the ships. I also traveled on my own, but yeah, I got kind of like a little tired of living out of a suitcase, and my next career was still in video, but wasn't the right fit, and so I took a year off and did some soul searching. I skied like 100 days and spent all my savings, and somehow this career found me. I wanted to do, someone said, why don't you be a financial advisor? I was going to go back to school to be a physical therapist because I've had like 8 surgeries.
Wow.
So, totally another story. But someone's like, why don't you be a financial advisor? I'm like, I don't know anything about that. And they're like, that's great. We'll teach you. You've got the skills and the mindset. Not even this mindset we're talking about, but just like the drive and the determination. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I want to help people. I want a career that teaches me things about how to be better suited for life and planning. And so I dove right in, and I didn't know if I could even like get hired or pass my tests. And I mean, I did know, but every step of the way, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. And then before I knew it, I was a financial advisor. And I got my start with, corporate. I was with Edward Jones, and I was there for about 9.5 years. But I felt like something was missing in my career, and I figured out quickly what it was. It was that I wasn't able to be truly who I am through my career because I had sales goals and products to push and things like that. And I found out there's this whole independent world, independent financial advising, where I can make it my own. Like I work now for my clients, and I can do it in a mindful way where I can share like who I am as a human and teach them and put that out into the way we manage their money.
So I know that you kind of do have this unique approach where to your financial planning. You're not just any old financial planner. I know some of your content talks about like this holistic approach, and I know you talk about like mind, body, spirit, money. So tell us a little bit more about that.
I mean, my clients who've been with me a long time, we just incorporate that into our conversation. When we meet, I say, how's life? Like, what are you doing for yourself? How are you exercising, or are taking vacations? Like, what are your big wild dreams, and are we making your money work towards those big wild dreams, right? So for existing clients, we're just always sharing, and I share more than most. My clients know who I am. They know what I'm going through. They see what I do outside of work life, and they like that we share that, and I ask them for that too in return. I want to know what their hobbies are and what sets their soul on fire. And for new prospective clients or new clients coming in, we go through a bit of a discovery process, and we do talk about, I know I wasn't going to focus on like those 3 P's, but like, what's your passion, what's your purpose, and then how do we plan for it? So those three P's, and then incorporate that, just the holistic approach of the whole you. So, I mean, it's one thing to make money, but why do we want the money, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because we think it's going to make us feel better for some reason. And so it's finding out, really drilling down on like why that money makes you feel good, what that purpose is for your money, and also teaching people. Like, some people come to me, they're like, well, we don't really have money. We don't know. We weren't born into money. Well, neither was I. I've never... Everything that I have, I've worked for, right? I didn't come from a family of money. I mean, my dad worked his butt off too, and we had a great life, but it wasn't like anything was handed to us, right? So, and so when people come to me, I mean, now in my career, I have to be a little bit choosy who I work with, right? I can't just take people well, anyway, I am willing to work with lots of different people, but it's about the thoughts around money, right? So coming and saying, oh, I don't have money. Well, let's change that. What you do have something, and how can we make more for you?
Right.
And your thoughts around it really play a big part in that.
Okay,
that mindset of money.
Yeah. So let's dive deeper into that. So, because you see or I see all the time on my, preferred research platform of Instagram, there's a lot of stuff about like manifestation and, an abundance mindset and things like that. But is it truly just like, I'm going to imagine money coming into my life and like, poof, there it is? Or is there something more to it than that?
I mean, a little bit, poof.
Okay.
No. Yes. So you notice how people like often focus on the lack, right?
Most people have a lack
those
mindset.
People that say I don't have, and those people tend to stay in lack.
Yes.
And if you can just shift your thoughts, like, I don't know where it's going to come from or when or how, right? We have to let go of the where, when, and how, and just believe and know that it's coming, and be specific about what we want. Like, yeah, it's not magic poof, right? But it is very much like, I think about myself, if I can share a story recently about myself, right? Yeah. So I teach this, I live it, I teach others, but I'm not like wealthy and rich with all this money. So I just recently went through a separation, which I know we'll touch on a little, and now a divorce. But when my ex moved out of our house, we made this arrangement that I'll keep the house, and I owe him a large sum of money to keep the house. And I had no idea where that money was going to come from. I did not have it sitting around ready to hand to him. So, but I knew it was going to come. And I just wrote him the final check last week and changed the deed. And it felt so good. And it came from different places, right? And yes, a little bit of it, I ended up taking out a loan because I just wanted to be done. But I know that money for that loan is already on its way. Yeah. Whatever's meant for us is already on its way.
I think, as I said, like, I do think most people do kind of have that lack mindset. Maybe that's kind of how society, has made us think, or maybe we were raised that way. So for those people that are listening and they're like, yeah, this is like way too, airy-fairy for me, and like, kind of skeptical, how can those people make the shift from, thinking lack to abundance?
Yeah, so I really believe it starts with a gratitude attitude. Start really focusing on the things in your life that you're grateful for, that you appreciate. I mean, it could be the littlest things, like, I'm grateful I woke up today after a good night's sleep. I'm grateful the sun is shining. And even if you change it to appreciate, I had a coach once say use the word appreciate instead of grateful, and it's just more in the moment. So I actually do something called a rampage of appreciation with a couple people in my life. We just call each other's voicemails, and we just say all the things we appreciate in that moment until the voicemail hangs up. And it feels good to say it, and then it feels good to hear it, right? Yeah. So I think starting with gratitude is one of the biggest tools.
So like, I was talking with Liz, my makeup artist, in the makeup chair, and we were kind of talking about this content. And she's like, I've been thinking I'm going to win, I've been trying to will winning the lotto for years, and I still haven't. So like, what do you say to that?
She still might. Somebody has to win.
Liz, there's still hope.
No, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, there's no magic solution, right? Like, there's a lot of things, I think, if you start opening up to the flow of life, there's abundance all around us. If you just look in nature, it's so abundant, like, especially in spring, like the flowers and the trees and the bugs and everything. So there's just so much abundance. The other thing is money's energy, right? Everything's energy, every single thing. and money's included, and there's an abundant supply out there for all of us. Like literally it's pretty much fake, right? They just print more money.
Yes.
And when we look at our bank account, yeah, we have to earn it, and it comes from somewhere, but there's an endless way to earn money as well, right? You're doing law, and maybe you get referrals through podcasts, and it all comes in from different sources. And it's just how we either attach or detach from the like little bank account numbers, and just kind of allow for the flow of all the possibilities of where it could come from. I mean, I built my business from scratch like you, right? Like I didn't have anyone hand me a book of clients, or I literally went and knocked on doors, like for real, knocked on doors and just showed my personality and my mindset, and money started to flow in. And even sometimes like I'm like, oh, where am I going to get the next new client from? Yeah. It just happens. Like
always
randomly
happens.
My phone will ring, and they're like, we saw your Google reviews, and it always happens. And I think it's just because you have that shift in your mindset.
Right.
So it's just the universal law, right? Mm-hmm. So
yes. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And I do want to say I'm still like a financial advisor that has to stay up on investments and research and the markets and products, and I still do all of that. I'm not just some woo-woo like come in here and we're going to manifest some money. So it is still about what the thorough planning. So
yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because there is still probably a very practical aspect to what you do. But I think kind of what makes you unique as a financial advisor, as a financial planner, is this sort of added, I would call it an added benefit to your clients, right? Where you're having these you're having kind of these bigger picture conversations, and maybe even kind of educating some of them. I don't know if they all come to you with this same mindset. I would imagine they don't. I mean, I would imagine they probably come to you being open to it, because everything's energy. So they probably wouldn't be attracted to you if they were completely opposed to this way of thinking. So I imagine most of them maybe are open to this way of thinking. And then maybe you have an opportunity to kind of educate them even more, and have these conversations. But absolutely, yes, there's still like that practical aspect to what you do for sure.
Yeah, and not all my clients are like really on board with this, and that's okay too.
Okay.
I feed off the vibrations of them, right?
Yeah.
So some of them, I have a few, like the engineer clients, they just want to come in and get right to business and see the numbers and see the performance and see the graphs, and that's fine. Yeah. And I'll throw in a comment or two that just makes it light. So yeah, I'm not only working with people that really believe in, manifestation and abundance, but you notice my Instagram really does focus on that. I'm actually not allowed to have an Instagram for business just yet.
Okay.
It's not approved in my industry. So I have an Instagram that tells what I do, but I don't focus on, my exact job and investments or anything like that. I just kind of focus on the other tools.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Switching gears a little bit, because you said it was okay to talk about this, and you mentioned it. I know that you recently went through a divorce, and you and your ex-husband have a beautiful daughter together. And the reason why I wanted to touch on it is, through our conversations and kind of like coordinating you appearing on the podcast, you had sent me some screenshots of text messages when your divorce was final, and they were texts between you and your now ex-husband. And they were so beautiful. I mean, it was like you guys were thanking each other for the experience of your marriage and creating this beautiful being, your daughter together. And it was like you had so much gratitude for one another for the journey that you had been on. How on earth do you have a divorce like that? Because of course, I mean, I know it's possible, but my reality is so different than that. I'm a divorce lawyer. Most people are coming to us with the most contentious divorces out there. So how does one have a divorce like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like who we are as people. Like I remember sitting Jay down the day that I had finally made the decision that it was time, and it took a few years because our daughter was so young, and I didn't want to share custody of my 3-year-old or 4-year-old, right? So I kind of knew already, and I had gone to like yoga therapy, and I'd read some books like Too Good to Stay, Too Good to Leave, whatever, a book, and I'd done it. I knew I was ready, and I think he kind of knew too. So anyway, we sat down together, and he's like, it's time, isn't it? And I said, yeah, and we both cried, and we said, we don't want to fight, we don't want to, this is all about Basil, and we stuck true to that word through our entire separation, and it was 2.5 years ago, by the way.
Yeah.
So the only reason our divorce took so long is because the first year we just didn't. We're like, whatever. I was still getting health benefits, and he's getting pay for me.
Yeah.
And so but then we started dating other people, and we're like, okay, we should probably get divorced. And that took 1.5 years, but only because we went to We the People and we messed up on our paperwork.
Okay, my book would not recommend doing that.
No. But anyway, it was just we do respect each other. We have different parenting styles, but we respect each other's parenting styles. And Jay really stepped up when he moved out. He's like, I want to be there for Basil, and I saw him step up, and it was beautiful, and it made it easier to share my girl, because for those first 5 years she was like total mommy's girl. And I don't know, I think we do still bicker from time to time, but less than when we were married, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And I think we just both made that like connection. Like we had tons of fun together. We traveled the world, and we laughed, and once we had a kid, it changed the dynamic. And I'm very business focused, and he's kind of like, I want to just whatever, so but he's wonderful. I don't have anything. I'm very grateful for him. I really appreciate his now girlfriend, and they also appreciate my now boyfriend, who's like an amazing partner. And the four of us all just it just works, right? Wow. So I don't know what more to say. I don't even know what advice, except for if you can go into your divorce with love and gratitude for why you were together in the first place, especially if there's kids involved. I think it's just so healthy. Like Basil tells people, my mommy and daddy are best friends. And even though we're not, at least she thinks
that's
we
her
are.
perception. And that's so what an amazing gift that you're giving to her to model that, is like through adversity and through your differences, like she is perceiving you guys as best friends. I mean, that is a true gift to give to your child. If there are people listening to this who think, this financial planner sounds like somebody who I would really want to work with, what kind of clients are ideal for you, and how should they reach out to you?
I have a little sheet. It's in my on my website, but it actually says like attitudinal qualities of clients that I look for, because I do think that makes a difference. So just to read a few: kind and nice humans, responsible and resilient, gratitude, attitude, like I referenced before, positive, optimistic, and realistic, strong sense of purpose, divinely guided, financial success is connected to mind, body, spirit as well, enlightened about realities of market volatility, respectful of our team. One thing I failed to mention is I recently hired my sister, and it was one of the best business decisions I could have made, but she's like my right-hand girl right now. So, and then just focus on what we're worth, not just what we cost, things like that. So those are all on my website. And also, people that need help managing their assets, their money, coming up with the full financial plan. And most people that come to me already have a financial advisor. They're just not getting the service they deserve or want. And also I'm independent, so there's not proprietary products. We can basically go out in the entire world of investments, which is huge and vast, and find anything that works for that particular client and their situation, and nobody's the same. Like, none of my portfolios are the same.
Yeah.
They're all very different based on that person's risk and time horizon and just who they are. Sometimes their morals, if they want, socially responsible,
Right.
and we just go out and search for those portfolios. So it's really tailored towards you, my client.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds amazing. Well, Gaea, thank you so much for being on the show, and it was great to see you. I've got just a little bit more to say. I am always touting just how powerful our minds are and how important mindset is in so many areas of our life. And I think that conversation with Gaea is really a testament to how that also applies to money. Now, if you listen to that and you're thinking, I don't know about this, this seems a little kind of, airy-fairy, woo-hooey, just try a practice of gratitude. See what happens, because you were made for more.